Hi, grade 5 teachers, and welcome to theme 3. This is our last topic in this theme. It's an introduction to volume. And you'll notice we have 3 different essential tasks here, and each of these tasks are really only meant to be taken one day of instruction. So this is really a conceptual understanding as best we can in this hybrid world of volume. And you'll notice that during these essential tasks, as we kind of go through them, students are not applying the formula for volume yet. Neither of these two standards require that volume formula. However, through our questioning, we're going to encourage our students to make some conjectures, notice any rules or any patterns, and they might pick up on the fact that they will be able to multiply to find the volume of a rectangular prism, but let's definitely let them have that thinking and own that thinking. So we're going to kind of look at this center part before diving in. You'll notice here that we have the same standard things that we normally do. You'll also notice we have some of these activities. So like, what is volume? This is an activity that you could do either virtually or print out. It has the pages to print out there for them. That's kind of like a center or a game that they could be working on. We have our fact fluency folders if your students need to practice some fact fluency. You'll also notice unique to this topic is this number sense routine, this cube conversations. And you'll notice here that it says present in PowerPoint, not Google Slides. So when you click on it and you open it, it is going to open in Google Slides. The reason why I'm saying not to use it in Google Slides, and you'll notice in a second when it opens, is that the tabs are kind of wonky. See, these little things are kind of wonky and go in, and the spacing's a little weird. So instead of you having to worry about fixing everything, just go ahead and over here, just click this download button, and it's going to download. I've already done it just for the sake of time. It's going to download right into PowerPoint. So definitely use this through PowerPoint. You're going to want to go down. You can either go through here or go through your up at the top, the bar, and you're going to need to make sure that when you share this with students, when you're presenting in your Google Meet, that you hit that present button. I have 2 screens, so unfortunately, you're seeing the notes here. My other screen, the PowerPoint is popping up. So share that PowerPoint with your students, but just kind of going through, you'll see the purpose of this really is that counting cubes and thinking about those different ways that you could count the cubes, and they're determining the volume of those cubes. In addition to this, you'll notice here, before you answer, this first one was just kind of like a practice, like what does this look like? How do you do it? This next one, we really want students to come up with their own ways and how they see it and how many different ways they could see this. So you'll see there's 2 different options here. There's the printable PDF. So if you have students and you're comfortable printing and your school's okay with you printing, feel free to print those for students if needed. There's also this virtual option. You'll notice it takes you right to a folder. This folder is going to be filled with Jamboards. There's a Jamboard for each of those cube conversations. And when we get in this, you'll notice I have different rights than you. I'm going to have editing rights. You're going to have you only. So you're going to need to make a copy of these before sharing with your students and put it in your own drive. Okay, so here we are. We see these students can take these markers as one option, and they could say, I see 1 row of 4, 2 rows of 4. I know that that's 8, and then I have 3 here. So really what I did was 4 plus, my computer's on a little bit of a delay, 4 plus 4 plus 3, right? And that could show me the total volume. Or I could use maybe a thicker, and maybe I saw this total amount here, and I see that I have 3 rows of 3, so I know that that is 9. And then I have plus 1, plus 1. So 9 plus 2. And we can kind of show our thinking here. So students can definitely show as many ways as they want. How these are set up is you'll notice there's just a bunch of these for each. If you want to make more, just click on the little snowman, click duplicate, and then each student in your classroom can have their own. That is totally up to you. Or you could just give each kid their own and not have it so they're all on the same Jamboard. So once again, once you open this, you're going to have a different setting than I am. So make sure that you make a copy of that before you share it with your students. Okay, heading back to our scope and sequence, let's dive into these essential tasks. Essential task 64 is really this introduction to volume and understanding what volume is and how it's an attribute of a solid figure. So you'll notice there is a Ready Common Core interactive tutorial. You can do this with your whole entire class together. Just note, you'll see the stop sign and this highlighted part. This goes through all of volume. Once again, we're not introducing the formula. So if you do use this, please stop at 54% or before the instruction part 14. So you're not showing the entire video, you're just showing part of the video. The reason why we're including this is obviously, especially thinking of those virtual students, it's hard to do volume virtually. So we really wanted some form of how we could show that. Then we're going to be going in, we're going to be talking about how is volume different than area. Please reference your Ready Common Core book to help you with questions for this or ideas for that. And we're really going to be talking about that connection, right? One is really for two-dimensional shapes versus three-dimensional shapes. Thinking about when would we measure volume and what might we need to measure volume of, and then talking about how square units and cubic units are different. So that's kind of like our big takeaway from here. It's just that overarching what is volume. So it's that amount of space contained inside that solid figure. We measure volume with using cubic units. There's some pages in the Student Ready Common Core student book that you can have students practice on their own. Essential task 65. We're going to kind of pick up from, you'll notice I added that little anchor chart for volume there. And once again, we're kind of thinking about how we measure volume in cubic units, right? And then we're going to really focus on that layering aspect. So if I know this one layer and I know that it has 3 layers, how can I figure out that total amount of units that this is? You'll also see that there is a Jamboard here. Just like for the number sense, this one does force a copy, so you're not going to have to worry about that part. But just like for that number sense routine, that cube conversations, you'll notice that students are going to be able here to kind of show their thinking and how many different ways they could see the volume of this figure. So same idea, here's our problem. These are locked down so you don't have to worry about it. They could use Post-it notes. They could use markers. They could use whatever works best for them. There's 6 total. You can add more if you need to by just duplicating that. But that's definitely how students can show their work. You'll notice I already went ahead and made this share and connection for you. Please feel free to delete this if you want to use student work, or please feel free to take out 1 or 2 depending on kind of your student's understanding at that time. Same thing here. We have another rectangular prism to find the volume of. This one, however, is not layered. There is a Jamboard that you can make a copy of. And here are some different ways that students could possibly think about it. Once again, feel free to change that to student work. And then we have some practice here. Once again, these essential tasks really are only meant to be about a day. We're going to continue to work on volume in theme 4. So don't feel rushed. Lastly, essential task 66, same thing, we're doing layering. We have this bottom layer. So we have our bottom layer, we have how many units it is, what is the total amount. You'll also notice that there is a Learn Zillion video here. Please feel free to show it. Once again, it's hard to show volume in this virtual world, and this definitely builds that layer. and help students who might be having a hard time visualizing, especially those pieces, those cubic units that aren't seen, right? So the videos really definitely are going to be helpful here to help some of those kids visualize what's going on. And we have another problem here also with a video that goes with it. So really we're thinking our big idea here is that we can measure that volume by counting cubes, we can measure it by counting our layers, and then there's a bunch of practice here for you to use. I hope that this was helpful. Once again, this little topic is meant to be super fast. We're going to continue volume in theme 4. So just kind of get kids getting that conceptual understanding of what volume is. Thanks for listening. Please let us know if you have any questions.